Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 44 of the NordCast. It is Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024, our first episode of 2024, and new year, no Jack. We kicked Jack off the pot. Just kidding, he's not here.
It's new year, same Jack.
Yep, new year, same Jack, where he misses like half the episodes. But I'm Nordic, your host, joined with Carter. How we doing?
Doing pretty well. Just staying alive. New year, same goals as always.
I think you talked about the gym. How's the gym been?
So I went on January 1st at noon, and I was like, it's gonna be so busy. I'm like, I should just not even go. I went, and it was dead. There was barely anyone there. And I went today, and I went yesterday as well. And it hasn't been too busy. It hasn't been shocking to me on how busy it's been. So
Wow.
there hasn't been a massive spike. But sometimes it takes people a week because they're like, okay, I'm going to just work out at home for a bit, then I'm going to get in the gym. So I don't know. I don't really care if a lot of people come to the gym. It's good that people better themselves. But yeah, I was kind of shocked that there was no one.
Maybe the resolution was to eat more food and not work out. Maybe.
Well, then they go on a bulk and still work out, and then they look good too.
True. We were also talking about like how many episodes everyone's collectively missed before the podcast started. I believe Jack has missed about 25% of our episodes.
It might not be that exactly high, but if we're taking episodes into account that we never ended up shooting because people were busy and stuff, I think if we took that into account, it's definitely 25%.
Oh, it's gotta be.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, it's him that can't.
Or you.
And like he's always like Thursday night 8:30, and I'm like I can't do that half the time.
I'm so tired. Just let me even like it's worse for you, but for me, I'm like 8:30. By the time we're done, it's 10 o'clock. I just want to pass out. But
yeah, same. I just want to take a fat nap. So that's obviously what I think of. But yeah, anywho, we're gonna talk about news today in this first episode of 2024. We're gonna get into some 2024 season prediction stuff for the second half of the season, all that good stuff. So we'll start off with news. Let me pull up Puck Empire real quick. The Winter Classic occurred 2 days ago. Carter, did you watch the Winter Classic?
I did not. I can't remember what I was doing. But I didn't. Oh, I was watching college football pretty much that whole day. So
Yeah,
I was watching the
college
meaningless
football.
Oregon game, and then pretty much January 1st, I just spent watching college football, which I'm pretty sure. Like I know you'll probably get into it, but I feel like that's most of the reason why the numbers were so low, like the viewership.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to bring up. The Vegas-Seattle Winter Classic was the least viewed Winter Classic to date. You look at like the ratings on like the sports media thing, it is the lowest ever. Only 1.1 million, which is still a lot, but it's like comparatively speaking, last year was 1.78 million, the year prior 1.36, and then in 2020 1.96. So, obviously as you can tell, it's not what it used to be. You look back at like 2012 to like 2016, it used to be like in the 3 millions. It's not anymore. And I think the factors that play into that is because these are two brand new organizations. Well, not brand new, but they're the newest of the NHL organizations. And as well as that too, college football. I think people are going to watch college football over the Winter Classic.
Mm-hmm. Which I feel like it kind of sucks for the NHL because the Winter Classic, they're almost always there, and usually all the college football games take place. Like last year, they took place on the 31st, and then this year they were the first. So I'm not exactly sure what played into that, but that kind of sucks. I feel like if those college football games were played on the 31st, I think that viewership number goes up by at least 500,000.
Yeah,
but there's more football fans than there are hockey fans in the United States, and college football will beat out the NHL any chance that it gets. So,
I agree. World Juniors. So the semifinals matchups have been determined. It is the USA versus Finland and Czechia versus Sweden. They're going to take place on January 4th. First game's at 9 a.m. Eastern. Second game's at 1:30 Eastern. So I'm looking forward to putting on some good old World Juniors hockey during my third period. Cannot wait for it. But yeah, I'm sure everyone wants to talk about how Canada got eliminated with 11 seconds left. I'm sure Carter does not want to talk about it as a Canadian. And I'm sure if Jack was here, he'd be making fun of Carter right now. Because, yeah. Carter, how do you feel about Canada losing 3-2 with 11 seconds left?
It kind of hurt because I felt like if that game would have went to, what's up?
Was your world ending?
No, because listen, I've been hurt by Canada before. The first time I ever remember being hurt by Canada was when we played Finland in the quarterfinals in Canada, and we had family over at my place, and we were playing some board game. I can't remember what board game we were playing. It might have been Monopoly or some whatever board game we ended up getting for Christmas or whatever. And they had the penalty shot, and I'm like, everyone pause the game. I want to fucking watch this. And Comtois didn't score, and I was like, oh, shit. And then we got scored on by Finland, and that broke my heart when I was a young lad. But a young lad. But I will say, Czechia definitely has a great team. I think that we were definitely on upset watch. But it does sting because this was a talented team. But I don't want to be throwing out excuses. But Coach Chippy said it. That was not the best Canada team we could have put on the ice.
Yeah.
We have Bedard, who's in the NHL, Fantilli, who's in the NHL. There's a guy in Chicago, Korchinski, who we could have put out there. Benson, who we could have put out there. There's so many guys who could have been on Team Canada that are just playing too good in the NHL to send down. And one thing I would like to say, I was disappointed with Poitras, Matthew Poitras. I was disappointed with his performance. I thought that he was going to dominate that tournament, and he didn't really dominate it. Like, sure, he made some good plays, but he was lighting it up in the NHL to start the season, and he just couldn't. He just didn't look that great in the World Juniors. So, but yeah, so many Canada guys that didn't make the roster. I'm not making excuses. I think that no matter what, we still should have beaten them. But at the end of the day, we'll be back next year. Maybe Bedsy runs it back because he'll still be under 20 next year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they didn't send Bedsy over. They didn't send Fantilli because obviously they're in the NHL, and you don't want to risk them getting injured because it's happened before where they send players over and then they get hurt really bad. Poitras, I will say this with him. When I looked at him before the World Junior started, he really cooled off since the start of the season. And I thought that a factor that played into that was how he more or less – I think he had a really good start, and it might have been I don't know how to say this. It might have been a really good start, and then he fell down to earth. And in the tournament, he wasn't all too great. The whole team wasn't really that great either. And the final goal too was very unlucky. It was a shot that deflected off Bonk. It went 5-hole on Rousseau, I think. So very unlucky goal, and it's just tough, but it happens to everyone. Like a goal like that. And something unlucky like that happens in hockey a lot. It's happened to a lot of teams before. My Flyers, many times. So definitely, Canada will be back for sure next year. But they just wanted to give the medal to someone else, didn't they? They just wanted to give it to someone else.
We have too many. Like the trophy case is getting a little heavy, and then I will say one last thing. The two goals that the first two goals that got let in. Not the prettiest goals to let in for Rousseau. They were not great. On the second one, I'm pretty sure he got screened. I can't remember. The first one, he was cheating and he played pass. But I'm not a goalie, so I'm not going to criticize him. Goalie's a very hard position to play with constant angles changing and everything like that. But Rousseau played unreal all tournament, and it just sucks that those were the goals that caused us to get eliminated.
Yeah, I agree.
But
so moving on now. Anyways, Minnesota's going to host the 2026 World Juniors, by the way.
I'm so going.
Pretty cool there. 2025 is in Ottawa, for those who don't know, but Minnesota's hosting the 2026 one. Ryan Hartman, and I know Carter's going to have some talk about this. Hartman was fined $4,427.08 for high-sticking Cole Perfetti. Hartman later on said that it was deliberate. He did it on purpose. So there was this tweet by Mac McIntyre he said, quote, "Wow, forward Ryan Hartman flat out told the Jets Cole Perfetti he deliberately high-sticked him in the face as payback for the Brendan Dillon Kaprizov play a day earlier. Cole Perfetti just now and the microphone he was wearing in the game that caught it all. So, yeah, it definitely was all said and done. I think that players were even told before that who's mic'd up, and Hartman still said it. So the next game they play is February 20th. Carter, what's gonna happen?
You will see me there. You will see me there. All right, I am going to be there. I do not care what it takes. I have class till 5 on Tuesdays. All right, I park really close to the arena. I am walking to the arena, and I am fucking watching that game. It is going to be a bloodbath. I will be expecting at least 2 or 3 fights in that game. I am expecting Adam Lowry to go after Hartman. I am expecting Brendan Dillon to go after Hartman. I will be expecting Mark Scheifele to play like fucking Dustin Byfuglien in our 2017-18 Cup run. I do not care. We are going to target Hartman all game. It is not going to be a fun night for him. But yeah, I just want to know if they are able to use that mic'd up footage of Cole Perfetti and send it to the league and get him suspended, because if so, he could get, like, that's intent to injure as well. Like, yeah. Because he admitted it, that's intent to injure. So, yeah, if you're able to send that in and that gets him penalized even more, I think every player in the NHL is going to be mic'd up from now on.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this in regards to that. When I look at that rivalry's been heating up the last couple of years. Last year or two, there was a lot of brawls, and I even made a TikTok on it. I think I think Bowness wanted to fight Evison. It was like a crazy thing to happen. But like, I'm surprised they didn't get him suspended. I'm surprised the league didn't step in and do something about it, because Hartman, A, has previous history. He flipped off of Evander Kane, by the way. B, it was intent to injure, like you said. And C, it's all on video. It's all on video, all on microphone. Because I'm sure they were doing it for the Jets YouTube channel. I'm sure, or the TikTok, wherever the hell they were going to post it. But yeah, he was mic'd up, so why not send that to the league? Like, I don't understand why the league doesn't, take that into consideration and look at that, and suspend it. It's just mind-boggling to me. But anyways, the Jets game versus the Wild is next February 20th, so that should be a very fun night. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Mark that on your calendars, folks.
I guess we'll get into the big news now that's across the league. So we'll start off with the William Nylander extension. So there's a report that a massive extension for lease forward William Nylander could be coming very soon via multiple sources. Elliot Friedman said yesterday that an extension for the forward could come as soon as next week. Friedman notably did not give an estimate as to the AAV. The multiple sources have said that it's expected to be a max 8-year length. Darren Dreger reported earlier today that he thinks he could see the AAV reaching $11.5 million, and also said that he sees the deal definitely being north of $11 million. Nylander had 50 points in 35 games played this season. So I'm going to ask Carter this question. What is the ideal contract for Nylander, and is he worth $11.5 or $11 million? Will I go get some water? Because as you can tell, my throat is killing itself. So I'll be right back.
All right, I'll break it down. So I think really with the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's going to come down to what the fuck are they going to do? Because they're going to have to, if they do end up signing Nylander to $10 to $11 million, it's going to be north of 10.5 for sure. But let me pull up their cap friendly, because they don't really have a lot of space for these guys. Like, they have so many players making above 10 million right now that it's just nuts. Like, they have Matthews, who's making 13.25. They have Tavares for 2 more years, making 11. They have Marner for 2 more years, making almost 11. And then, not to mention, they got Morgan Riley for a long-ass time, making 7.5. And it's just, TJ Brody's $5 million at the end of this year. But they have so many guys making so much money that if you're going to pay 5 guys, and if my math is correct here, they are definitely pushing over 50 million. No, way over 50 million. They will be closing in on 60 million for 5 players. Almost 60 million for 5 players. That is a question that the Toronto Maple Leafs have to take a look in the mirror and figure out what to do. Because as much as everyone wants them to keep Nylander, keep Matthews, keep Marner, keep Tavares, keep Morgan Riley, you're going to have to take a hard look in the mirror and think, we're going to have to give someone up here. Because having those 5 players at almost 60 million total, I get it, the cap is going up and everything, but 60 million for 5 players is an awful lot. You need 18 guys on the ice. You need to have as deep of a roster as you can if you want to make a cup run. You can fill it with as many superstars as you want for your top line, your top D pairing. It's not going to matter when it comes down to playoffs when you're playing depth teams with 3 lines constantly rolling and a 4th line that's going to punish you. So they really do have to take a hard look in the mirror and figure out, is extending Nylander the best bet if we're trying to win a Stanley Cup here and be dominant for a long period of time? You can have as many superstars as you want. When it comes playoff time and you've been playing for 82 games already, you're going to wish you had some depth.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, I'm back. Hope Carter didn't say anything stupid while I was gone.
I didn't. I pretty much just said they have to take a hard look in the mirror and figure out what they got to do, because really, it's going to come down to trading someone, I think. If they're willing to keep Nylander, they're going to have to ship someone off. And it's going to come down to him or Marner.
Mm-hmm. I think that they might ship off Tavares. Because Tavares, I think, expires in 1 season after this year.
2 more years.
I think they're going to try and move him. Yeah. Because like they can't.
He has a full no move clause though.
True.
He has a full no move clause. Marner has a full no move clause. Matthews has a full no move clause. I think Morgan Riley has a full no move clause. The only guy you can move right now is Nylander.
Wow. I was gonna say then I guess you could move Morgan Riley, but you really can't. You don't have a whole lot of options. You really don't, because they're right up against the cap, and they really can't extend. They can extend Nylander. It's going to be a lot of money, but they're going to need to make a lot of decisions. They're going to have no depth, virtually no depth, unless if it's $750K deals for everyone.
Yeah,
they're going to need to make some serious moves if they want to get under the cap.
They're setting themselves to shoot themselves in the foot here, and last year should have been the year to figure out what the fuck they were going to do, because Marner's full no move clause kicked in this year, and I remember we were talking last year. They have to move someone because they need the depth. As much as they want to keep these superstars, they need the depth. Last year was the perfect year to do it. Marner was high on points and everything. And you were itching on Nylander. You're like, I need to see what he's going to do if we want him to be our guy. But, I think they missed their window in trying to trade one of these guys, because great thing with Nylander is he's going to get a huge haul if you do decide to trade him. But it's the Leafs. They're not going to do that. So they got to figure it out, because at best, they're going to have John Tavares for, not at best. This is best case scenario for them. They have John Tavares for next season, and then they don't re-sign him. That is best case scenario for them. No questions asked. Yeah, that is best case scenario for them. But the chances of that with the Toronto Maple Leafs, not going to happen.
What? Marner has a full new move clause, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't trade him. Or can you trade these guys if they waive their no move clause?
If they waive it, yes, but I don't think John Tavares is not going to waive it. He's a Toronto kid.
Yeah.
He's not waiving it. Matthews is a superstar there, and unless he's going to a top American city or Arizona, which I don't know if he fully wants to do, I don't think he's waiving it.
Your contract. There's no way he's leaving.
No, Marner has.
When does Marner's deal expire? Because he was signed.
He's got 2 years left on it.
So he's got a full new move clause. What about Morgan Riley? When does his deal expire? Same year?
No, he got locked up for a long time. He's here till 2028, 29.
So, hypothetically, I don't think they're going to trade Matthews because, A, they literally just signed Matthews. If they were going to trade Matthews, then they would have traded him last offseason.
Yeah.
They're not going to trade Tavares.
Because he's not going to waive it.
Unless if he can get him to waive his no-move clause.
Doubt it.
Marner might be the most likely if they sign Nylander.
But you got to keep in mind he's also a Canadian kid, and for the most part, all Canadian kids dream of playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I don't know if he's going to waive it either. So I'm saying they missed their chance on trading one of these guys because Marner would have been the perfect guy to move last year. You bring Nylander up, he would have lit it up this year too. Granted, this is all them banking on Nylander jumping, which I don't know if they fully expected, but now that he has, I don't know if they have much of a choice other than to let him go or trade him now, but I don't think they're going to do that either.
Yeah, I don't know. Hypothetically, I think if they sign him, Marner's the most likely to get moved.
Yeah.
And, realistically, though, if they can get Marner to waive his no-move clause, imagine how much they could get for him.
Oh, they get a lot for him, but at the same time,
they'd also amount for Marner.
But at the same time, they'd also know they do what the Rangers did last year with Patrick Kane, because Patrick Kane flat out said, "I'm not playing for anyone other than the Rangers." And if Marner is they're like, "Okay, Marner will move his no move clause," they'll be like, "Okay, that means we're one of the teams he wants to go to, so we're going to bring your offer down."
Sorry, yeah, team. You can tell I'm just dying.
Yeah,
you can tell. There are going to be teams that see the way that Toronto is handling this. They're seeing their cap situation, and they're going to be like, "Yeah, you need to get rid of Mark.
They have to.
You're not giving him to us. Well, you are giving him to us.
Yeah, you're not just being like, "Oh, we're out of the playoffs. We'll give him to you, and he's going to be expensive, but we'll give him to you." It's like, no, you have to make this move if you want a strong future. Because
now I will say this: the cap is rising by 4.5 next year. However, that's not really going to change anything.
It's not really going to change because the only thing, if they wanted to keep this team, Nylander is making. Okay, so I guess if it did raise 4.5, they could afford this entire roster. But at the same time, they have so many guys who are at not low minimum, under $1 million.
Yeah, well, let's just
a lot of defensemen under that, and not to mention Nicholas Robertson's got to get a new deal. Bobby McMahon's got to get a new deal in 2 years. You're going to start having to look at Matthew Nyes. They need depth, and I don't know what they're going to do because they have a lot of issues that they got to iron out right now. And to be honest, we don't know what those are going to be. I think that this is a decision that the Leafs have definitely had to have been looking at very thoroughly lately.
Yeah, 100%. Just, it's going to be a whole conversation. This offseason is going to be very interesting for the team. We'll see how much the cap rises, and we'll see whether or not they can keep these players. I have a weird feeling they will, for some reason. They're going to keep all these players and piss everyone off by doing it. Somehow, some way, they're going to keep everyone.
They're going to keep everyone, but here's the issue is they're going to have to get rid of some of their young guys. I know that isn't Nyes is touchable, I'm pretty sure. Was he? He must have been. Matthew Nyes, he must have been. You probably could have sent an offer for him. Because they have guys that I'm pretty sure are untouchable. I'm not sure who they said they were, but I'm pretty sure Nyes was not one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to find out. The other big piece of news I wanted to talk about was Elias Pettersson, another guy who's expiring in 2024. could he go to the Chicago Blackhawks? Now, it's funny because we don't have Jack on here to talk about this, but it's a very strong possibility that he goes to Chicago. Now, I'm going to hand it over to Carter again, not because I need to leave, but because I don't feel like talking. I'm going to hand it to Carter. Carter, do you think that Pettersson will leave to Chicago, and why?
I don't actually know, because I think this is all going to depend on how playoffs go for Vancouver. I think they make a deep run and they win a Stanley Cup, make Stanley Cup final or conference final, and they keep it close, game 7, something like that. I think it's going to be hard for Pettersson to be like, I don't think I want to run it back next year. Like, how Pettersson's what, 26, 27 years old, 25?
I believe so.
Yeah. So he's in his prime, and when you're in your prime, most guys would want to compete. So I don't know. It's up in the air. He's 25 years old. Sorry. I just want to make sure I set the record straight. He's 25 years old. So by the time next season rolls around, he'll be almost 26. I just don't know if I can see him, especially with Chicago not being good right now, right? Like, they're not competing. They're not fighting for a playoff spot. No, they're bad. Would Pettersson fix it? Yeah, he'd help them out a bit. But at the same time, like, I just can't see him trying to waste his prime in Chicago right now. As much as he would want to play with Bedard and that young group there, I just don't know if I can see him passing up an offer to go win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Granted, he's like, sometimes these European guys don't fully care about the Stanley Cups as much as like the North Americans do, and whatever. Like, they're most of the time chasing records and stuff, as much as they do want to win a cup, but that's kind of a secondary to them. So I don't know where his head's at. If his head is to win a Stanley Cup, I think he stays in Vancouver if they make a decent run. But if not, he's going to be an absolute superstar in Chicago.
Yeah. I think that someone on Spin and Chicklets said that this could happen. Friedman went over, didn't discredit him, but said that it's a very premature rumor. He's heard it, but it's not, like, confirmed. I think what Pettersson's worried about right now is how the season goes. Like you said, we'll see how playoffs go. If they're doing this well in the regular season and then they lose in the first round, then, yeah, he probably walks. Like I'm not going to lie, he probably walks. Because he thinks about his future and sees that, yeah, maybe this team isn't able to win, and walks. Who knows? Honestly, that's very possible. And Chicago, it's not out of the question. You see what Connor Bedard's doing? I am sure there are dozens of players across the NHL who would want to go play with Bedard. I would want to go play with Bedard. Yeah. I'm sure there are plenty of players out there right now that are expiring in 2024 that think to themselves, well, if I go to Chicago, I get to play with Bedard. And I get to be a part of what this new core that Chicago is building. I wouldn't mind going to that.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely going to be enticing for a lot of these players.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a factor. Pettersson's probably thought about it. I mean, who hasn't thought about it? Of all the 32 teams in the NHL, who hasn't thought about thinking about going to Chicago and playing with Connor Bedard and building that new future with them? But, you know, obviously it depends on what happens with Vancouver. I think that's all it depends on. Just currently, as of right now, I think that's all it depends on. So that's all I have to say. You have any more thoughts on that?
No, not really. Like, as we said, it's all going to come down to how Vancouver performs near the end of the season here.
All right, cool. So we're going to get into some 2024 second half of the season predictions. We're going to do the awards first, so we'll do that. Let me pull them up here real quick in my my journal of fun stuff. So we did 6 awards. We did the Hart, the Vezina, the Calder, the Norris, the Selke, and the Jack Adams. So we'll get straight into it here. We'll start off with the Jack Adams Award. Carter, who do you have winning the Jack Adams?
For the Jack Adams, you can call me a homer all you want. I am giving it to John Tortorella. I think you look at what he's done with this Flyers team this year, a team that everyone thought was going to be horrible, finishing near the bottom of the Metropolitan. he's got them in a playoff spot right now. And this is something that we didn't see coming. And I think if you look at coaches who have turned the table on them, granted, the Flyers, are they a top 2 team in the NHL? No, right? But if you look at expectations versus reality, I think that gap right there is exactly why he deserves to win it.
Yeah. I have Tortorella as well. I just pretty much what you said. I think the same way. Unless they fall off in the second half of the season, it should be Tortorella's trophy. Selke, who do you have winning that?
For the Selke, I am giving it to the guy who plays with the guy we just talked about. I'm giving it to Mitch Marner. I think that his two-way game has kind of developed this year. He's looking like a better defensive forward as well. But yeah, I've really enjoyed his defensive side of his game this year. It's definitely taken a step. So I don't know if that's something he worked in on the offseason, but if he did, it's definitely paying off.
2 for 2, Carter. I also have Mitch Marner. So yeah, just basically what you said. Marner's played good defensively this year. Not a whole lot of points. Not as many points as last year and previous years. But yeah, he's played well defensively. We'll see if we go 3 for 3.
Should we say Jax as well? Should we say Jax as well?
Oh, we should say Jax. You're right.
Or do we make him stuff? I have it. So for this is for Jack. For Jack, the Jack Adams goes to Lane Lambert.
Okay.
I don't know. The Selke he gave to Barkov.
All right, that's not bad.
I'm sure if he was here he'd be able to explain it, but I guess not. What's the next one you want to
do? We got Norris Trophy.
So the Norris, Jack went with Quinn Hughes, and I also went with Quinn Hughes. I think that
I went with Quinn Hughes too.
Yeah, I've really liked his defensive and offensive game. I think he's truly broken out as he was a star before, but I think this year he's really broken out into a superstar. I think between him and Cale Makar, just looking at the star power that's on that Colorado team versus that Vancouver team, I think Quinn Hughes definitely has played extremely well. It could go to him or Cale Makar, and either of those two guys I would not care. But as far as for my prediction goes, I think Quinner is just going to dominate for the rest of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Hughes is a great pick. I think it's the favorite. Makar is also another one, too, that can get it as well, obviously. Dobson, too, of the Islanders has played really well, as well as that, too, Adam Fox. There's many options you could pick, but I went with the favorite. It's Quinn Hughes. The Calder Trophy. I think we all have the same one. Again.
Do we? All right, sweet. So, yeah, Jack has Connor Bedard. Pretty self-explanatory there. I got the same thing. I got Mintkov. No, I think he's really. No, I'm kidding. I got Bedard.
Mitchkov? You say Mitchkov?
No, Mintenkov, the defenseman on the Ducks.
Yeah, okay. The guy on the Ducks.
No, I don't. I have Bedard. I think it's obvious. I don't think we really have to explain this one because.
Yeah, I had Logan Cooley. Well, now I have Connor Bedard. So it's consensus. I don't think there's really anything we got to bring up there. Vezina Trophy.
Vezina. So for the Vezina, Jack has Aiden Hill.
Not a bad pick. Who do you have?
I have Connor Hellebuck. I think you look at his December numbers. He did not lose a game in regulation. He's really starting to find his groove. This Jets defense is helping him out a lot more too, which is obviously helping his numbers as well. But he's been really dominant. I've liked obviously because I've watched like almost every single Jets game. He's looked really good. He's looked like his past Vezina self, and I love his game. He's been good.
Yeah, for sure. I went with Demko, even though Hellebuck's a great pick. Demko's another one of the guys that could get one. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens there, obviously. But I'm looking forward to the Vezina vote. I think it will come down to Demko and Hellebuck, but obviously, hey, we'll find out. And finally, the Hart Trophy.
So for the Hart, Jack went with Nikita Kucherov. So definitely a great pick for him. Is the Hart? Oh, the Hart's for the most valuable player. So for the Hart Trophy, I went with Nathan McKinnon. I think that he's really shown out this year as well as kind of most guys have. He's been passing the puck a lot. He's been shooting the puck a lot. He's really just trying to put the puck in the back of the net, give his team the best chance they can, and he's been dominant on both sides of the puck as well. I think with his speed, his IQ, his just everything about him, he's been unreal this year. So, yeah, and he was also the highest scoring, most points in 2023 went to Nathan McKinnon as well. So that is quite impressive.
Yeah, I had Kucherov. McKinnon's a good pick. He's been really good this year for Colorado. Better than previous years, it feels like. So, yeah, sure. McKinnon's a good pick. But I also had Kucherov. So, yeah, overall,
it's weird not having McDavid in that.
Yeah, it's crazy. This year, just not McDavid for us. As of right now, maybe by the end of the year, we might have McDavid.
Oh, probably. He'll turn it on late.
We probably will. But obviously, Kucherov there I think there's only one that we all disagreed with, and that was the Vezina. Either that, we all had one in common. So I thought that was pretty cool. So finally, we're not going to do any games today because my throat is not happy, and as well as that too, Jack's not here. We're going to talk about if the playoffs started today. So I got the wild card standings pulled up here. We're going to go through if the playoffs started today. So we'll start off with the Eastern Conference. Actually, no, we'll start with the Western Conference just for fun.
Okay.
As I take a drink of water. Yeah, it's probably should not have recorded a podcast, but whatever.
Nah, we had to.
Yeah, we stuck it out. So currently, if the Avalanche finished, actually, what's the tiebreaker? Is it points percentage?
It might be.
Because here, let me look at the league standings. Because I'll know that. All right, Vancouver would be first in the West because they're both tied right now for points. So if Vancouver was first in the Western Conference and the playoffs started today, they would play the Arizona Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
In the Pacific, the Vegas Golden Knights would take on the LA Kings. I think that'd be a very fun series to watch. I would really enjoy that. In the West, the Avalanche, which are the first seed, would take on the Nashville Predators. And then the Winnipeg Jets would take on the Dallas Stars. So, of those series, which one is your favorite, Carter? Which one would you most enjoy?
Jet Stars for sure. I think every game is a battle between those two. It's always a great game. It's always great hockey. And especially because it's my Jets in it too, so I feel like I kind of have to say that. But, I think that one would be probably the best series because right now only 2 points separate those teams, and not both. Honestly, right now Winnipeg and Dallas, like they're both in it for the 1 seed in the Central as well. So it's the Central is going to be a fun race. But no, I think out of those 2 teams, I think I'd take that'd be my one I pay attention to a lot.
Yeah, I would like that too. I would also like Vegas and LA. I think that'd be a fun matchup too. 2 Western Conference teams that go neck and neck every year. I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I think it's kind of like mainly the best. I think in the West at least the best games are going to come down to the 2 and 3 seeds.
Yeah,
because I just looking at it, there's like big gap.
Unless if the Oilers make it in. Then
the Oilers are only 1 point behind Arizona with a game in hand as well. So this is the Oilers might make their comeback here, but I think that
they play
between.
When do they play again? They don't play tomorrow.
They play tomorrow, I think.
No, they don't. I don't think they do. Hang on, let me look.
I thought they did.
They do not. They play not Friday.
No, they have a break till Saturday?
They play the Senators.
Oh, God, that's a win. Never mind, yeah.
But I'm sure Arizona plays before that, so definitely that also is going to be interesting there. They play the Islanders, so let's make that an overtime game. But, yeah, because the Islanders love getting overtime points, right? But anyways, for sure. It'll be interesting to see when Edmonton gets into it, but it probably will come down to the 2 and 3 seeds.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Eastern Conference then. The Boston Bruins would win out the East, and they would play the Washington Capitals for that first matchup there. Then the Florida Panthers would play the Maple Leafs in the first round. Very interesting there. Excuse me. The Rangers, who would win the Metropolitan, would take on the Philadelphia Flyers for that first Metro matchup there. And then the Hurricanes will play the Islanders again. So another intriguing matchup there. Carter, of those, which would be the most entertaining? I think all of them would be, not going to lie.
Honestly, I agree. I think they'd all be very entertaining. Maybe not Boston, Washington. I think that one would be... Well, I mean, I guess not really, because we thought Boston and Florida was going to be a dud series last year, too, but Florida just broke out. I honestly don't know. I think that every series would be good. I think if there's one I'd pay attention to, it'd be the Florida-Toronto rematch, I think.
Yeah.
I think that would be one I'd pay attention to as well. And
I'd watch Flyers-Rangers, too. I think I would.
Flyers-Rangers would be a good one, too. I'm going to pay attention to both of my teams that I support, but Florida-Toronto, you can't beat rematches from the previous year. Those are always good games.
There would be some pretty notable teams that would miss the playoffs, though, like Tampa, the Devils, the Penguins.
There's so many teams that are in the hunt right now in that
it's
conference.
So close. It's going to change night to night. If the Capitals win tonight, then they move above Philadelphia. If the Devils win tonight, then they move above the Capitals. It's just so close right now. Yeah. Every win matters pretty much.
3 points separate the wild card 1 from the 6th seed, like the wild card 6.
Yeah,
which is wild. And there's so many teams that are not out of it, and then you have Ottawa, but you get the point.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see where it ends. And finally, before my throat dies, Carter, what is your Stanley Cup pick?
This is so hard because I said it last year too, but I actually do have faith in us this year. Winnipeg. I've loved their game. Listen, you can get pissed at me all you want. You can't lie. We have been red hot lately. And I'd also like to say we won the Dubois trade by a mile. But yeah, we have depth now. I think that was what we were missing last year. So I'd take Winnipeg. Out of the West, I'd take Winnipeg. And then out of the East, I think I'd take New York. I think that this is the year where they figure it out. So
the Islanders?
We know who I'm talking about, and it's definitely not the fucking Islanders.
The Sabres? The Devils?
Get out of here, man. Go take some medicine.
My cup pick, I'm gonna keep it short. I have the Dallas Stars over the Rangers. I have the Stars winning the cup this year, in my opinion. Yeah, you can give me that look, Carter. I don't really care. You can laugh. It doesn't matter to me.
I'm not laughing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. Do you have anything else?
Nah.
All right, cool. Well, that will conclude our first episode of the NordCast in 2024. I apologize for my throat not being that good. Hopefully next episode it'll be better. But anyways, thank you all for watching or listening.
Hopefully we get Jack.
Hopefully we'll get Jack back too. But yeah, thank you all for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Adios.